A Great Lakes Academy Learning Lab production.
Hi, I'm Michael Charles. I'm the educational diagnostician here at Great Lakes Academy in Plano, Texas. We're a specially designed school that works with students who struggle with different learning differences. Mainly, a lot of students here are either on the autism spectrum or have ADHD. And regardless, we see a lot of students who have trouble with executive functioning. So I wanted to talk about a few things. There's 5 things that I wanted to talk about the deficits that these students have. And the good news is, though, is this is a universal design. Like, all students will benefit from these types of things that you do in your classroom. And it's not just students who have learning differences or ADHD or autism spectrum disorder that struggle with these things. So you can use these with students who do struggle with these things as well. So first I want to talk about executive functioning. It's been called the boss of the brain. I heard it referred to as that, and I think that's a great analogy because it governs over a lot of the things that we do, mental process and things like that. And even the word executive functioning, it almost like alludes to like a boss, like an executive, right? And so it helps you stay organized, it helps you remember things, remember details, it helps you manage your time, and it helps you problem solve. So here's some quick things that you might see deficits with in your classroom, what they look like, and then a few just tips that can help you on your way. So one thing would be self-regulation, and that would be sort of like trouble with impulses, trouble with managing emotions, things like that. So one thing you can do with that is I always like to have movement because it seemed to help them get their wiggles out. And so, that would be like flexible seating arrangements, like a wobble stool. I even had kids who were like, "Can I stand?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's not interrupting me or you or, distracting, then yeah, stand." A fidget, a non-distracting fidget is really helpful for a lot of students too. If they have sensory issues, then sometimes this smooth, like a smooth piece of rubber or these different things you can find. I had a rock when I was a kid. It can be soothing, it can help focus, things like that. Another thing we'll talk about is working memory. You can imagine in a classroom, if your memory was suffering, that how much it would affect you and your ability just to, hear what the teacher was saying and take notes, or read a passage and then answer some questions about the passage. And I don't even remember what I read. So they might forget directions. They might be off, trying to keep up, and it's just, you can notice them overwhelmed. So one thing you can do is chunk your instructions. It's very important. And also use visuals and checklists and things that you can train them to go and refer back to it, right? If they're not sure what they're supposed to do, or they're not sure what task is next, then they can go to their checklist and find out, right? That's very helpful. Another thing I'd like to talk about is time management. Sometimes with ADHD, I've heard about time blindness, where you kind of just, forget how much time, and you have no sort of sense of like how much time something will take or how much time you've spent doing something. And these students, they have trouble estimating time. So like posting your schedule is going to be really a good idea. Another thing that I've used in the past is like if it's their, independent reading time or like journaling time, open up your screen and you can go and open up a digital timer, right? So they've got a 10-minute countdown clock. And I had students who that was very helpful for them because they just didn't know how much time they had. And so for them to be able to look over and see, oh, I've got 5.5 minutes remaining, I'm good. I can write another couple sentences in my journal. Another thing would be, this is one of my favorites to actually do in the classroom, would be self-starters. And I say that because it helped me. I like to feel like a team with the student. And when you help a self-starter with prompting, that's what you want to do, is because they have, it's in the name, they have trouble getting started. You kind of say like, hey, I noticed you're having some trouble. Let's talk about this real quick. I want to game plan on this with you and get you going, so that way, you can get these things done. Those types of things were always fun because a lot of times it just took a little bit of discussion back and forth, and they were like, spark that idea. And that's all you're doing with this, is you're sparking an idea or maybe asking a line of questions or prompting. You're really just pointing them in the right direction. You're not giving them anything. You're trying to get them on a roll, get the ball rolling, so to speak. The last thing we'll talk about is organization. This one's near and dear to me simply because I struggled with it when I was a kid myself. And I know how important as an adult now being highly organized is. And thank goodness I learned those skills. And so you can help them learn those skills as well, because they'll tend to lose things, they'll forget things. It can affect their grades sometimes. They have a 0 in the grade book and things like that. And we want to teach them, we want to coach them in the right direction. And so we can model, we can teach organization. We can also employ different aids, like as simple as color-coded dividers in your binder, and us staying on top of them and saying, like, this is an exit ticket. It needs to be in the right place. Let me see it before you leave, because your study guide is very important. I want to make sure you have it, and that builds that habit. And then giving them praise for those types of things as well. And as well as like using like an online calendar. Go ahead and open up, Google Calendar, put your test on there. And that's your exit ticket for today, is I want to see where you put your test on there. And then you can extend that to, let me see your study dates. I mean, you should have a couple of study dates on there if you got a test coming up. So let's see what that looks like. But all of those things are going to help with organization. And I'm sure you have your own ideas. Those are the top things that I see with executive functioning in the classroom. I know you guys might have seen those things too, and I hope these ideas help you very much. Thanks again for coming and watching, and I hope you have very much success with your students in the classroom.
I'm Michael Charles, and I am the educational diagnostician at a wonderful school in Plano, Texas called Great Lakes Academy. It's an excellent school choice for students with a learning difference or diagnosis, which can make learning in the traditional large classroom challenging. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe, and look for more informative content from our channel.